guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. So today I'm just going to give you a few little tips on how to sew on paper with your sewing machine, and the sort of things that I use, and glue and needles and things like that. So what I use the big spools of thread because I do a lot of sewing on journals and journal cards and all sorts of things like that. So I use the big spools. I have in general just the four main ones. I have the white, black, I have cream, and I have brown. Now I use mine on my machine on this lovely little contraption which I put behind the machine. It's got like a little hook which you hook your cotton over, and instead of popping it onto the little thing at the top of your machine, I pop it on this and stand it at the back, and then we can use, you know, these great big ones which I think are so much more cost effective. Now I broke this one at the top, but that doesn't matter. I dropped it on the floor yesterday, funny enough. So I just use, I've got those, and I just think they are fab. Really simple, really cheap, and so much more cost effective. But again, you don't have to have the great big ones. If you're starting out, just buy the little small ones and use those. And you don't need a fancy machine either to start sewing in on paper. You just need your standard machine that you've got, or borrow one. I'm sure somebody might have one you can borrow. Now I also have these beautiful coloured threads. Now these are some polyester embroidery threads, and they are just got a lovely little shine to them. This is just a few of them. I got about 36. They came in a packet of 36, and all different colours. So these are the ones I use if I do a little bit of free motion stitching, or, you know, want to do a pretty tag. Now I've got some of my Wisteria Dreams tags that I'm going to sew on later, and I just think these would look absolutely beautiful, this colour on there. So that's probably what I will use to go into my journal. But I'm just going to show you basically how we can attach some paper on there, and make it and back it and sew it around. So super simple. I also have some bobbins. Now I've just got this little box of bobbins. I don't use them that often, only if I want to use sort of like the same colour thread at the top or the bottom. So again, I've got this beautiful pink, and I popped it onto a bobbin as well. So you can sort of like mix them, you can mix and match the colours, it doesn't matter. But if you wanted the same colour, just pop it onto one of the bobbins. So love these, but again, not essential. You could just need a bobbin and change the colour. Have a couple of bobbins, so you've got a black, white, cream and brown, so you can use them with your big ones if you're going to use big ones. So that's sort of like the cottons. I don't use, this is just, it's not an expensive one, it's quite cheap, but it's just fab. I haven't had any problems with it breaking or anything like that, and it is only, it's under €5 per roll, whereas the smaller ones are quite expensive, €2 or €3, and they don't last as long at all. So this is the needles. Now in general I use a 75, a number 75. I'm not quite sure what that is, because I think there's sort of like 9, 10 and 11s and things like that. I'm not 100% sure. I'll find out and I'll pop it on the screen. But in general I use a 75 because it's a thinner needle. And I do have 100s as well. Look, these are 65 cents in my local shop. I've had these for a while because luckily enough I haven't had to change my needle for a long time. It's just been going and going and going, and I just love it. So I'm not 100% sure. I think I do have a 90, an 80 or a 90 in there, but I use in general 100 for thicker card and thicker paper. But the thinner the paper, the thinner the needle, because you don't want to make a big hole in your paper, because that will make it rip. But if you wanted to test out, you can buy these little ones like this, and they got 70, 80, there's two 80s in there, a 90 and 100. But just have a look on Amazon and things like that. I'll pop some links under the video anyway. But you can pick these up quite inexpensively in your local shop, I'm sure. So that is what I use in general. So I'm going to just bring my sewing machine through like that. So I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm going to just pop this back over the top, out of the way, like that. Make sure we are all hooked up properly. So let's just hope. It's a little bit awkward for me to sew on here. I've just pulled my cotton out, so there we go. Let's just thread this. I have got one of these lovely, I don't know whether, shall I go in a little bit just so you can see me thread it? It's like this comes down and it hooks around, and it will automatically sort of thread your needle, which is just amazing. And then we just pull that through. So there we go. I hope you could see that. I'm just going to come back a little bit. There we go. And we pop that to the back. Right. So general, I just leave my machine as it is. So just leave it. If you're a sewer, I don't sew on, I'm not a seamstress or anything like that. This machine is just solely for crafting. So I have this on the tension bit. It's on 4.5, and that works fab for this machine. I have it on as well on here. I don't know whether you can see over this little bit. I just have, this is the speed, and I just have it in the middle. Okay, so that's general. I'm not sure whether I can slide along a little bit more. This is all my lovely stitches that I've got on here, and this tells me, I've got a lovely little digital one, tells me what's tension and size of the stitches are. So it's fabulous. I love my machine. So let's pop that there. So all we're going to do, super simple. I have got some bits and pieces. I'll sew those in a minute, but I've just got some bits of scrap paper. So to start with, get yourselves, we all have little bits of scrap paper. Look, I've got a little bit of book paper, a little bit of this, a little bit of packaging, which I love, a little bit of coloured, like this. So all we're going to do, I'm going to pop those down here. I'm going to take some little bits like this. Let's just go out a bit. It's probably easier. You can see a little bit better. I'm going to pop them on top of each other, just willy-nilly, like that. Let's get rid of these pieces. A little bit of book paper. Pop that on top. And I'm just going to go down like that. Okay. And I'm going to put, so we just let, I haven't even glued that. I'm not going to glue it. I'm just going to pop it on together, hold that down. Now my machine is actually on, we want to go on to just a normal straight stitch. Now I'm going to pop that down, and when we're on a straight stitch and we want to sew on paper, you want the stitch size quite big. So my stitch size goes up to a number 5. So I normally do it on like a number 4. I'm going to pop my needle down, and then I'm just going to sew along. That's it. That's all we do. So this hasn't got glue, it hasn't got anything on it. That's just sewing straight through the paper. Get rid of these little bits. Pop that down. Can you see? And that is just sewn that straight through, and then that you have got your little embellishment. So that's just some layered up paper. You can pop a little word or a phrase on that, and this is stitches is quite big, so it's lovely. And that's it. That's so simple to do. Now stitch, I'm going to just show you on here. To practice, get yourself a little sheet, a little bit of scrap paper as well. Pop your needle down, pop your little foot down, and then your needle down, and just sew. Don't need to go too fast. Just sew up and down some paper, just to get the feel of it. It's really is fun. Lift your, oops, keep your needle down, lift your foot up, turn your paper. So you just do it as if you're sewing a piece of fabric, and then start again. There we go. Keep your needle in your paper, lift your foot up and turn it round, and then just keep going, and then just sew, And then what you can do, if you want to know how it feels to get into thicker paper, just fold up your paper like that and then carry on sewing, and you can feel the difference in thickness like that. But just go slowly along. There you go. Perfect. And then this way, look, you can even do it like that, and then you've got like a little pocket. So it's really is simple to do, and it's nice and neat. Just have to go slowly. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just go slow and stitch. There we go. Take a little piece of paper on there, pop that down, pop your needle in, and just sew. Don't use glue at this stage. Just get used to sewing a little bit onto some paper. Turn it round. Like that. And lift it up. There we go. So there you go. Lovely. Nice little bit stuck on your paper and no glue. Right, so if you want to glue something, I'm just going to use a little bit more of my scrap paper. Make sure your little bits of cotton are facing at the back. So I'm going to take a piece of this. What shall we have? A little bit of the purple. Let's just have a little strip of this on there. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to take my glue stick. Now I find that glue stick is the best thing if you want to sew. And now I'm not going to glue the whole thing. I'm only going to do a little bit in the middle where I'm not going to sew. Okay, and then I'm going to take that and I'm going to stick that on. That's just really to hold it in place, and then I will just sew around the outside. Then you're not going to get your glue on your needle. So pop that down, pop that in, and then just sew around the outside, and then you know you're not going to get glue anywhere near your needle. So all the way around the outside, down like that. Perfect. Then you have something else stuck on there, sewn it around, easy peasy. There we go. Look at that. Really simple, and you know you don't have anything. If ever you get glue on your needle, what you need to do, I have some alcohol. This is just some 96% alcohol, and this is just one for antiseptic disinfectant. You can buy it at any pharmacy, and then just pop a little bit onto a little bit of tissue or a little cotton bud, and then wipe it onto your needle. If you feel like you've got sticky on there, wipe it onto your needle, or take your needle out and wipe it. But just be careful, be mindful of where you're gluing and where you're sewing. It's a bit of sort of like common sense as well. Don't just glue the whole thing and sew everywhere, because you will get into a real big mess, and you don't want that going into the inside of your sewing machine. So it's a common sense. I do use other glues as well, but I wouldn't suggest it. I have used this, but it will get sticky. But the other one that you don't use double-sided tape and try and sew on that, because that will not work. You will make a big mess of that, and I have done that. In the very beginning, I had some double-sided tape and tried to sew, and it just made a big mess. That was on my old machine, so that was a big learning curve. So don't do that. But in general, just glue sort of like in the middle bit like that, or you don't even have to glue at all. Now I'm going to show you how I sew round tags. Now you've probably seen me do this before. I always leave a little border of white when I cut out, if I know I'm going to put a backing on it. On this one I'm going to use a little bit of tea stain paper. Now I'm going to just cut a section off this a minute, because that's too big to work with. So let's just cut that off. Now I'm not going to glue this, I'm going to pop it on top like that, and I'm going to just glue it. I'm not going to glue it, I'm going to sew around it. Now I'm going to sew around just inside the tag. Do you know what I mean? So pop that down. We do have guide marks on here. Now mine's got a little line in here, and you can follow, you can have it sort of like wherever your guide is on the outside, you've got little marks. You can put little bits of tape on your machine to make sure you're not going over, but again, just start off slowly. So I'm having this sort of like middle guide bit here, I'm not sure whether you could see it, and I'm having it in line with the outside of my tag. So I'm just going to go very, very slowly like this, and my stitch is on number 4, so it's quite sort of a nice large sort of stitch. Right, now keep your needle in, lift your foot up and turn it round, and then just go up again. And then lift that up around just a little bit, because we're going around just around the corner on there. Lift that up again, around and along, and make sure you're holding onto your paper so it doesn't slip underneath. Again, lift it up. So you don't have to use glue, you don't have to use glue at all. And then what I'm going to do is just go round. Oops, not quite at the end. There we go. Just go a few stitches along there. Lift that up, and then we are all done. Okay, so look at that. That's just perfect, isn't it? And then you can see on the back. Now I'm just going to get my bigger scissors, and I'm going to just cut this out. So then just cut along your little white line that you've got, and you will have a lovely, lovely, nice, neat tag like that. And I find it's easy as well to sew onto a bigger piece of paper on the back if you're not going to glue. If you don't want to glue and you're too you know, you don't want to get your sewing machine any chance of getting any glue or anything in it, then it's best to just do it like that. Look how neat and tidy that is. I think it just comes out fabulous. Oops, I hope it didn't go blurry. And then I've got the little pockets that go with it, which I think the lantern, and then that will just go down. And I think what I might do is sew along this bit as well, so when I stick it onto the journal, that will go into the pocket like that. Maybe we could add a little bit of something on there, shall we? Let me just sew. Let's just take this. I've got my little box of bits and pieces here. I've got some beautiful lace, so look at that. That will just go beautifully, won't it, down there. So again, to sew on it, I'm not going to glue it, I'm just going to pop that on the bottom and get that. Try and get used to not using glue if you don't want to use glue, and just take it slowly. Just pop that on and hold that in. Okay, push it underneath like that. Don't worry, you can try these out on different you know, some not your best. Don't start off with your best fabrics and best laces. So then I'm going to just go along here nice and slowly. Just leave it, don't pull anything. So if you've got some fabric, just hold it loosely, don't pull it, because it will all sort of like gather it up. There we go. just going to just snip that off like that. And again, don't cut it off either, because it's easier to work with a longer piece than a shorter piece. So just snip that off, turn that around, tidy that up like that. Now I've just sewn it with brown cotton, but again, it's probably better if you do a lighter one. And look at that, doesn't that just look lovely? So in my journal, when we start making it, that can stick down as a pocket, and that can go in like that. So it's really simple, but just be, you know, just go slowly. You don't have to rush through everything. Now that's some little tags. Let's do those. I'm going to just pop this into there for a minute, and I thought I would just show you how to make a super quick, simple little sort of little, you know, little scrappy journal. So all I'm going to do, we don't need it this big, I'm going to just tear a little bit off down the side and down there, so this sort of like opens up like that. Then I'm going to take another piece, this is just blue, I'm going to just fold this piece in half, and we can just pop that on like that. That's a nice size, isn't it? We'll take this little piece, we don't want it that long, we'll have it like that, so then that can go on. So you've got some nice little scrappy bits that you can use. What else do I have? I've got this little piece here, maybe we can just use that down like that. Okay, so they don't all have to go in line. So look at that, that's a nice little one that you can just open up like that. Should we put something in the middle? What should we pop into the middle? Let's have this piece. Shall we just have this? I have it going down this way. Got a nice flower on it, hasn't it? Let's just fold that in half, and we will pop that into the middle just like that. Can you see? So then what you want to do, hold on to it. Oops, take that piece, hold on to those pieces, turn it around, pop it into your machine, and then just sew down the middle of it. So there's no gluing, it's just putting all your pieces of paper together. Sew down the middle. There we go. Now you can do a little back stitch if you want to, but this is just like a little scrappy one, so just a few little stitches down through the middle, and look at that, fold that in half, and that is your spine along there, and then you've got a lovely little scrappy journal like that to write in or stick things in. So how lovely, so simple. I can't say it enough. Once you do it and start, just go slowly, have basic bits around you and practice. Now once you've made a few of these and you get yourself used to sewing on fabric and things like that, you know, you'll be sewing everything, I guarantee. So again, take your little bits just to practice. We'll take a few little pieces like this and make some scrappy little embellishment things that we can stick things onto. Pop that in the middle, pop that there. And again, if you wanted to, if you weren't confident enough to hold it, just put a tiny, and I would use glue stick, just pop a tiny bit on the outside, just on the outside, because you know you're not going to sew on that bit, and another bit just on the outside bit, just to hold that in place, and then you know you're going to just sew down through that middle bit. So just be really mindful of where you put your glue like that, and then just sew. Lift it up so you don't have to sew through it. Now once you've sewn that like that, you can then, once that's all held together, let's pop that through, you can get yourself a little piece of scrappy fabric I've got a little bit of scrappy here. Will that rip, do you think? Yes. You can just pop a little bit of fabric on there like that. Let's get another piece. Have I got anything here? Just bits that I was using the other day. So I've got a little bit of pink sari silk here. Oops. Cut a little piece off. Pop that over there. Pop that on top like that. Pop your foot down and then just sew down through. Now again, I think I might change my stitch to a zigzag stitch, and then we can just there we go, nice little zigzag, a little bit of fabric, a little bit of scrappy papers. So now you can make some beautiful little embellishments. Take all those little bits of cotton off to pop into your journals, which I think are fabulous. So really, really quick and easy, and quite simple. So don't be afraid to do it. Give it a go. Again, you can then start adding some beautiful little bits of trim to any of your embellishments. Again, this one I didn't glue at all. I just sewed around it. So really, really, really simple. There's another little one there. So there we go, guys. That is a very, very simple, easy way to sew. So just be very, very mindful of what you do and go slowly. Don't rush things, and check it out. And also just practice like we did on this piece. Just practice, go around. You can get little bits of your what's this, packaging, pop your needle down, and also you can test out your different stitches if you have different stitches on there, and write down as well, make a little note. You can make yourself a little journal of the needle sizes and the stitch sizes that you prefer for each one, like that. So then we can just gently, there you go, just gently practice. Stop halfway through, go to a different stitch that you want to do. What should we do? We will do number 20. Let's see what number 20 comes out like. I don't think I've done this one before. There we go. Let's see what that one was. Lift that up. Oh, look at that. That's like a little sort of, I think that's like a double zigzag stitch on there. Whether you can see that, but that's lovely. So there we go. So you've got all sorts of stitches. If you're lucky enough to have a sewing machine with different stitches on, you will have such fun. So there we go, guys. So I hope that's made a little bit of sense to you, but it is such fun doing it. Once you start, don't glue. If you don't want to get glue on your machine, it doesn't affect, people do say that it will dull your needle sewing on paper, but I don't know, because I don't sew on, I don't make sort of like trousers or dresses or things like that. So for me, because I just sew paper and little bits of scrappy fabric, it's fine. This needle has been in there for probably a year. I would have thought a year. I've not changed my needle, so it works lovely. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope I haven't been shouting into the camera, because it's right under my nose on here today. So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care, stay safe, and please do have a go at sewing. And I will see you soon. All right, guys, bye bye.